the supernatural realm, the unseen realm, I think is so much closer and so much more connected to our natural world than we realize. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Tat2d Reactions video. It's been a while since I posted one. Hope you are all doing awesome today. Now, I do apologize for my voice. Been sick recently. It's what happens when you have kids, so give me some grace if my voice sounds a little bit off in this video. Now, oftentimes on this channel, I talk a lot about the supernatural realm, the unseen realm, whatever term you want to use there, and I talk a lot about the dark side of it, because I think coming from a Christian perspective, there is so much more going on in the unseen realm, and particularly from the kingdom of darkness than Christians typically are aware of, want to think about, and just flat out understand. And so I try to bring light and try to just talk about things that you don't really hear a lot about in church. Well, this video is going to be a bit of the opposite of that. Came across a cool video that seems to show angels or some divine beings saving people from like different accidents, and you'll see in the video. It's a short clip. But I saw it and I was just like, you know what? Like, I wish more of this kind of content would go viral out there. Because I think that God is always working and he's always doing stuff all around the world. And I think oftentimes, for whatever reason, some of the crazy things that he does doesn't make headlines, doesn't make mainstream media like other things do. And so my hope in this reaction video is just to bring light to crazy miracles that were done by God's entourage, his angelic beings. And yeah, we'll take a look at this video and then I'll share some thoughts about how God still moves and acts today. Check it out. So, I mean, those were three separate instances where it's like someone's about to get run over by a car, and then at the last second, it looks like something flies onto the screen and takes them like out of the way of the oncoming car in a split second. Now, I know there's people out there who will just say, oh, clearly this is photoshopped. Or clearly it's AI, or it's CGI, or whatever technology you want to use. And when you're looking at these kind of videos, whether we're talking about this, whether you're talking about aliens, whether you're talking about Bigfoot, whether you're talking about, paranormal activity, there's always going to be people who will just default to that. But let's just take a step back in context here. What if that was real? Because I've heard stories my whole life that never made mainstream media where people have been, rescued. There was a picture that went viral back in the because it went all over. I think it was newspapers and magazines of someone took a photo from outside of an airplane, and when the picture was developed, it's like you could see angels or what looked like angels all around the airplane. So there's stuff like that that's been happening for forever. And so there's obviously going to be the naysayers, the doubters who will just default to, oh, it's fake, it's fake. But like, what if it's real? And coming from a Christian perspective, where we see examples of angels acting on behalf of humanity, saving them. It says in the book of Hebrews that we can entertain angels and not even know it, that they are oftentimes among us and we have no idea. Bible calls them ministering spirits. And so we see them doing all kinds of things. And I think there's so much more that the Bible doesn't expound upon when it comes to angels, when it comes to divine beings, than we even realize. And so to look at something like that and say, oh, like that just can't be real. An angel couldn't do that. Well, like, why? Like, why couldn't that be real? Why couldn't this be evidence of a supernatural event occurring? When you see at the very end, there's a kid walking across the street, and all of a sudden, boom! It's just like, man, the supernatural realm, the unseen realm, I think is so much closer and so much more connected to our natural world than we realize. And I think this kind of stuff happens all the time. It just doesn't get captured, or it doesn't get, put on mainstream media. But the fact that you have these really cool occurrences where all of a sudden someone is about to get just run over, then whoosh, this like lightning bolt flashes across the screen, and that person finds themselves on the opposite side in a split second. I mean, when you look at the abilities and the way a divine being who is in the unseen realm, that's where they live, their capabilities, they're like what we would call superheroes. Like their strength, their speed, their intelligence, their just abilities are our brains can't even fathom that. And so I just think something like this is like real life examples of things that people go crazy about in like the Marvel movies, where in the movie you'll see the quote unquote superhero rescuing someone, saving someone, and everyone freaks out. Well, this is happening right now in real life. It's not a movie. And I think this stuff happens more and more. And I think as we get closer to the end of time, and I think that the more people now that have devices and have cell phones, and I think that we're going to see a lot more and more of this kind of stuff making its way out into mainstream media. Because I think that while technology can be used for evil, when technology can be used for sinister purposes, and that's a whole other subject in and of itself, but God can also use technology. And I think that these kind of things, documented video evidence of supernatural occurrences, I think they've been happening, they're going to continue to happen, and I think they're going to happen more and more, but there's going to be more and more proof of it. Because I've said this now for a while, where I think the whole this whole atheistic agenda out there is going to grow, is going to become less and less influential on our culture. The more that the more experiences, the more encounters people have with the unseen realm. or the fact that you can't deny that there's something else out there. This is not just us. It's not just the physical world. And the more and more the more and more situations where this kind of stuff happens, it's just going to push this whole secular atheistic thinking. It's just going to remove it from our culture. And then we're going to have to go back to how it was in the first century and back into the biblical days, where it wasn't, is God real? It wasn't, is the unseen realm real? It was, which God was the real God? Which one was the most powerful God? And so you had, every nation had their own pantheon of gods, and this God against this God, and all that kind of stuff. And so I think that's where culture is going to go, is headed, back there. Bible says, as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be at the coming of the Son of Man. As it was in the days of Noah. And I've done many videos on this. I'm not going to go into detail on it right now, but the point is that's where the Nephilim were created. These hybrid creatures, part human, part divine beings, were roaming the earth, were setting up civilizations where they were being worshipped on earth by humans. This whole commingling of human and divine and all that kind of stuff. That was the world at that time. And that's the scene that Jesus said, as it was in Noah's day, so it shall be when he returns. And so atheism is not going to can't exist in that world. And if it does exist, it's going to be very small, very minute, very insignificant. And so I think that this kind of stuff is just a small little snapshot of evidence that I hope makes it out there. People need to see that there's so much more going on than what we know, what we realize, and that the God of the Bible is real, he's true, and that Jesus is God, and that he has his own entourage of divine beings, angels, who do his bidding for him, who are interacting with our world more than we realize. Well, let me know what you think down below. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions on this subject, and we'll see you all in the next video. Much love, and God bless.